We must also support Lebanon in implementing the United Nations Security Council Resolution 1701 and the Taif Agreement. Assist Syria on its path toward ability and stability. Back the efforts of Saudi Arabia and Oman to advance peace in Yemen, and support the Quartet in mediating a peaceful resolution in Sudan. Distinguished colleagues, the concept of securing the Gulf encompasses a complex and interdependent web of factors, from the physical defense of our nations and the protection of our sea lanes, to economic diversification, to the exercise of responsible and principled diplomacy. As Bahrain assumes its non-permanent seat on the United Nations Security Council next year, these considerations will be at the forefront of our minds, while collaborating with global partners to ensure not only physical security, but also to foster lasting trust, cooperation, and peace. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Minister Zayani, for also reminding us the plethora of issues that need defense diplomatic attention, and for recalling for this audience that in January you take your seat up at the UN Security Council, so we'll have 1/15th share in global security management from there. Thank you very much. Saeed Badr Abu Saidi, the floor is yours.
Well, Excellencies and ladies and gentlemen, dear colleagues, I wish also to extend my thanks, first of all, to the Kingdom of Bahrain and the International Institute for Strategic Studies for organizing this dialogue. I am really glad to be able to contribute. Every year, this event provides an excellent platform for all of us to express views and listen to a variety of perspectives. This diversity of ideas, of thought, no doubt will benefit us all as we unite around the conviction that stability is always fostered through dialogue. True security cannot be achieved through policies of isolation, containment, and exclusion. True security requires inclusivity, and history provides ample examples of this. Since the revolution of 1979, Iran has been seen as a threat. It was believed that Iran sought to export its revolution and destabilize its neighbors, and that the best solution would be a policy in which Iran was isolated and contained. In Oman's view, this was never a solution. Since around 1989, we observed that Iran has shown openness to rapprochement with the West and a desire to integrate into a regional status quo. And by engaging constructively with its neighbors, Iran could demonstrate that it is not a threat but a committed partner in fostering regional stability and cooperation. During the invasion and occupation of Kuwait in 1990, Iran demonstrated, in our view, considerable restraint. We saw this as a sign of its readiness to engage, and we advocated a collective and comprehensive regional security structure, optimistic that Iran might be included. Looking back, I believe that if such a structure had been established, the war that followed in 2003 could have been prevented and many lives could have been saved. The policy of containment persisted, and Iran remained viewed as a threat and an outsider in its own region. No serious effort was made to include it in regional security dialogue. The only positive developments in the following decades came through diplomatic and economic engagement. Exactly the kind of engagement that the policy of containment resisted. Earlier this year, as many of you know, Oman was hopeful that such engagement would again benefit regional security. During 5 rounds of US-Iran nuclear talks, we made very substantial progress. But just 3 days before the 6th and possibly decisive round of talks, Israel unleashed its bombs and missiles in an illegal and deadly act of sabotage. This was shameful, but unfortunately, it was not surprising. We have long known that Israel, not Iran, is the primary source of insecurity in the region. Israel's deliberate efforts to prolong tensions had, in this case, killed hundreds of Iranian civilians. But Iran responded with remarkable restraint, just as it had when Israel bombed its consulate in Syria, injured its ambassador in Lebanon, and assassinated a leading Palestinian negotiator in Tehran. Over the years, the GCC has at best sat back and permitted the isolation of Iran. I believe this needs to change, and it needs to change now. Oman has long hoped for a more comprehensive mechanism for dialogue with all states in the region, including Iran, including Iraq, including Yemen. This would strengthen the security efforts of the GCC, no doubt. It would reflect the fact that Iran also has a real and legitimate stake in the security of the Gulf, so is Iraq and Yemen. And it would place us all in a much better position to address other pressing challenges, such as maritime security, drug and human trafficking, and climate change, to name but a few. How can we have regional security if major regional players are excluded from the conversation? How can we have regional security if major players are excluded from the conversation? Inclusive dialogue promotes harmony, mutual respect, and deeper economic ties, creating incentives for restraint that containment of zero-sum approaches cannot achieve. Failing to engage constructively and in good faith with Iran, with the Houthis, and others will not resolve issues like proxy wars, human suffering, or nuclear proliferation. On the contrary, exclusion fuels conflict, extremism, and instability, worsening exactly these challenges. Only an inclusive regional security framework can effectively address shared challenges, leverage collective resources, and pave the way for a more stable and prosperous future for our peoples. Thank you very much.
Saeed Badr, thank you very much for that call for inclusivity, and I'm sure in the question and answer period there might be points made about how one ensures a consensus amongst the 6 countries of the GCC